Hello, hello. It is Tuesday. We are here with, of course, Miss Kayla McDonald from Remax Alliance Group, and I am Lindsay with Keystone Mortgage Solutions. And we have Mr. Gary Heustead today from G2, and I'm very excited because it's your second annual, or is it the third year?
This is the second year, so it's our first annual technically, but it's the second event that we're doing for our back to school drive. Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate you having me on.
Of course,
Yeah, definitely.
I'm excited to have you and can't wait to hear all about. I think it was pretty successful last year, and I was really looking forward to hearing all about it and being involved. So tell us all about it.
Yeah, so our back to school drive, obviously last year was our first year. We got a lot of donations, and we helped out around 100 kids in West Pasco with the supplies that they needed for back to school. This year, our goal is to get 500 stuffed backpacks and put together. We have about 12 local businesses that have collection bins in their businesses right now. And we've also had, we just put together a thing a few weeks ago where small businesses can donate $250, and that gets 24 stuffed backpacks for the kids. So we've also had several small business owners that have really come through for us. It's a lot of people in the community that we know and that are kind of backed our drive here, and they've helped us out with that to kind of keep growing this and get towards that 500 backpack goal.
All right, awesome. And the backpacks go to the schools themselves, or how are they being distributed?
Yeah, so this year we're actually going to do something a little bit different. We basically got with Sunray Elementary School, and they're going to be the pickup location for anybody that's in need for them. So essentially, we're going to go out there. I guess that's July 31st, and it'll be from 8 to 4. And basically, we're going to be out there. The cars just kind of come through the bus loop there, and we're going to pass them out what they need as far as the bags go. We kind of have them separated. You know, there's some bags going to be for elementary kids, and then there's going to be some bags for middle and high school kids. And we'll just kind of give them out as they need. And hopefully we can get enough people there and try to give away what we collect this year.
Awesome.
So you have 4 more days until that you're collecting backpacks until?
Correct. So July 19th is going to be the last day that we're going to kind of go and get all the boxes from the locations and place the order for all of the other additional stuff that we need to get. Obviously, we did get some cash donations and some other things like that have come in. So essentially by the 19th, we want to get all that done. So we have next week to really put everything together and make sure we're good and set up for a great event on the 31st.
Well, and if anybody's watching, I'm probably known as the Amazon Queen, but it's Amazon Prime Day today and tomorrow. And I did see some backpacks for sale on there. So, and other school supplies and whatnot. So if, you're wanting to donate, that might be a good spot for you to look.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. You get, a couple more.
Right.
At the same price.
Right. And the big thing is we're going to continue to do this event every year. This is kind of the reason that I started this charity, was specifically for this event. We're going to continue to grow it and do some other things as well. But essentially right now, this is kind of the staple behind it and what we're going to do. So anything that doesn't get given out this year will definitely be ready for next year. If anybody doesn't have time to get actual supplies to us, like I said, we do have a website where they can do a donation right through the website as well. And they can decide, hey, if they want it specifically go to this back to school program, it goes in there and then it's allocated directly for that. So even if it's for next year's drive or giveaway, we'll have that money for the kids.
That's awesome. So did you get any feedback from last year when you did the first drive, or like from the schools? Or
so the real tough part, one of the things that we're really trying to do is build our relationship with the schools. We would like to build that directly with the social workers there. I feel like they're the ones that are kind of in most contact with the kids that really need it. Obviously, that's the goal, is to make sure that we're getting a reach to the kids that really need the help. The back to school thing, obviously there's, we're going to be giving that to everybody that kind of come through there. But we've had people from Hudson High School reach out to us and from other schools about kind of specific needs. And our board does a really good job of trying to get what we can to help these people out. I've heard stories from there where kids are coming in that are just in tears because they don't eat over the weekends. So we've helped them with food and things like that. So there's different things like that we are trying to do to help benefit other than the back to school drive. With that, I'll tell you, we did this last year and it was a lot of work, and I was really like, my eyes were open to a whole new thing here. But when you see those kids with their backpacks and just how excited they are, I just remember one little girl came out of the room and she just had a smile this big and was just, "Do you love my backpack?" And I was, "Yes, I do love your backpack," And it was something that, it seems like a small gesture, but they really, really appreciate it. And to see that and to know, where I came from, and, we didn't, I had 3 brothers. We didn't always have a whole lot of money. It was kind of like, hey, this is how much money we have. And we kind of split it up between us and we got what we could. But to see those kids that really, enjoyed, or they were really appreciative of it, man, that was really, really good for me to see. And it made me feel really good about what we were doing here.
I feel like when you go back to school, I don't know, I always remember wanting a new backpack every year, even though the one I had the year prior was fine, but it was dirty. And I don't know, I feel like it's really hard to be a kid and go to school. And when you have, other kids looking at what you have, and,
so much in today's society is about, how we look, how we dress, everything like that. And these kids, at that age, it's hard enough, going through school and everything else. But, if you don't have, nice things or cool stuff, I mean, it makes it even harder. So, I mean, even if it's not top of the line, or if it's not name brand, if it's new and it's clean and, they have everything that they need to get by, I mean, that's helpful. And I really think that that's what we're trying to do, is to kind of relieve these kids of all of this. Cause I think there's a lot of it that goes into it that we don't think of, especially as adults. Maybe we don't think that having a new backpack every year is as important, but to your point you just made, Kayla, I mean, maybe it is that important,
Yeah, I was always excited to show off my new backpack. If I might not have been, I remember, I don't know if it's still the same, but I remember JanSport being like the backpack to have. And I think I got one year.
Really, they just don't cost the same.
Yeah.
How much this stuff costs.
Yep, exactly. But I remember still to this day, certain like brands and certain looks, that everybody wanted, like, down to like a Sophie gym short, like that, like, like things that, and I never, and I never really got all that stuff. I don't think that we were poor, but we weren't
and that's part of it. You know what I mean? I mean, I definitely wouldn't say we were poor as kids either, but when there's so many mouths to feed and there's things going on. And, my parents, I mean, my dad, I learned more from that guy than anybody else, just because of his work ethic and seeing, him get up every day and work through it and know that he had to for his family and everything else. I mean, that's kind of the backbone that really got me into all of this stuff. And so, and honestly, when we started, I think this kind of thing actually started from him, because this has always been near and dear to him. I think he's always been in a situation where he knew he wished he could have done more when we were growing up. And even before we started this charity, we've been involved. The Board of Realtors often has these back to school events. I think we've done some stuff with the chamber and stuff like that. So we've always tried to be involved in it before we could kind of get out and do our own. And now that we're doing this, I feel like we're really making an impact, and that's what's most important to me.
For sure. Yeah. I think it gets them ready. I mean, just the excitement of going back to school, and the new teacher, and having your stuff to be able to put away and get your desk ready. And sometimes they come in and they have like bins that they're able to contribute to, for the classroom or whatever. It's just exciting for them to be able to feel prepared and to, almost feel included if they're not able to do stuff like that. So I think it's really important.
No, I couldn't agree more. I think that's a big part of it. And I think that them wanting to do that and be able to show off that and be able to help with others and even seeing, I mean, what I hope out of all of this is that one of these kids sees what's happening and they understand that they're getting this, and maybe down the road they can help somebody else out too, because they understand what it is, I think that's something that in society oftentimes gets overlooked. Maybe it's something that we don't teach our children enough, and isn't being talked about enough. But I just believe that if you can, you should. You know what I mean? I don't think that's for everybody. I think that me personally, I believe that if you are to give to somebody, you have to give to somebody from a place of abundance. I don't feel that people that are struggling and the people that are having troubles of their own should be giving, but oftentimes those are the people that do give the most, but I think it's the people that are from abundance and have an opportunity to be able to, that's their responsibility to. And if they're not, then I think they should take a good look, because there's so many people in our society that need the help, and even if you can do a small bit, it always goes a long way.
Yeah. Oh, I agree 100%. So, moving the organization that you have isn't just for backpacks. Like what do you have, planned in the future?
Right. So really the main thing, we're trying to focus this around, the school-aged children. And so really it's going to be, what can we give to athletic departments and programs? There's oftentimes there's schools that are in need. If it's musical devices or music instruments that we can help. And the arts programs, I think, are very important to several of the board members. So we're constantly looking for those types of things that we can kind of implement and move forward with that. Like I said, that's going to be kind of our next step is looking for some other programs that we can really help with, because I feel like we've got a good kickoff on the back to school drive. And I think that, moving forward, we would like to do at least a few more of these type of things throughout the year. So really it's, what's predominantly in need, where can we be of the most value? And then obviously too, we're open to be helping with, even if it's small things, if it's individuals in need. We have a website, it's info@g2communityyouthfoundation.org. And on that website, on that email address, people send us sometimes requests. If there's anybody out here that's watching this that may need something for, or know it's a school student in Pasco County that's kind of looking for something or needs something, send us an email. I always bring that to the board and we look through it and see if it's something that we can do to help. We do have kind of a very niche mission statement that we have to follow. So sometimes it may fall outside of that. But even when that happens, we do have other charities that I've met and people that we've aligned ourselves with that we can kind of refer them to as well. So really, like I said, it's the athletics and the arts and the music stuff that's really going to kind of be the next step, because I know as being a kid in middle school, playing football and doing all that was fun, and that was something, again, that I think a lot of kids I can remember that wanted to do sports and wanted to do these programs and their families just didn't have the money,
Right.
I was talking to my brother recently, and he's got a 12-year-old, my nephew Ryan, and he puts Ryan in everything, right? Ryan has tried every sport there is. He's done kickboxing and all of this other stuff, and my brother, he's got himself in a situation where he's doing well for himself, but even him, he's like, man, like it's a lot of money to do all of these individual programs, so and I think that athletics especially, and even the arts, are something that help really raise people's confidence when you're a kid that age and you're trying to figure out life. If you find a niche that really makes you feel good, that's something that's great. And a lot of people just miss that opportunity. That's something that, you never know. Somebody could fall in love with a sport or an instrument in middle school. And if they don't get that chance, then maybe they miss out on a whole part of their life that they wouldn't have otherwise known.
Yeah. I couldn't imagine life without sports growing up. I was definitely, I wasn't out there playing like, soccer or anything. I did that when I was younger, and it just wasn't my thing. I don't have like the but going into like I did like track and swim and weightlifting, and it taught me a lot of stuff just that I use every day today, just trying to be healthy and
teaches you stuff about yourself you didn't know.
Yeah, exactly. Like wow, okay.
Like you went back to the school and you did some weightlifting like as a trainer, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep, I did. I went, my old weightlifting coach actually is still coaching at River Ridge. I don't know when he's going to retire.
Right.
Because I feel like he's been there since the school opened. Not trying to call you old, Coach Deej, or anything, but you've been there for a million years.
Right.
And it was actually my old track coach who came to my gym at BCMF and was like, hey, Mitchell High School needs a weightlifting coach. I think you would be great for it. So I was like, oh yeah, sure. Why not? That'd be so much fun. I had a great time. I loved it. It just, with my schedule and everything with real estate,
Right.
There's just no way for me to manage both. And then,
right.
Also me not being at the school, it's a nightmare trying to get into a school when the school is being let out and trying to, oh my gosh, it was just a nightmare. But no, it was awesome. And, I loved working with the girls, the high school girls. They were like, I still talk to some of them today. And it's crazy to think that now some of them are like 21 and 22. And I'm like, you guys were just like 17 years old in high school yesterday.
Well, I'm sure you taught them lessons too that they probably, again, like you said, they're probably using the lessons that you've taught them, even if in a small way. There's something that happened there that probably bettered their lives, and that's what's so cool about doing this type of stuff.
Yeah,
opportunity.
It was definitely cool, and I could see like how and why like teachers do what they do, and it was just like a different, it was a different, I didn't get paid any money, barely.
Right.
I would say I made pennies. It was a volunteer job, but it was nice. It was very rewarding. And, if I had a different job or was not doing the career that I'm doing and time allotted for it, I'd probably still do it. Just to be able to work with them and teach them stuff and talk with them. And
sometimes kids at that age especially just need an adult positive force in their life, somebody that they can just open up to or can just talk or can just be around. That's not, parents are tough sometimes. We get, you get on top of your kids and you're kind of just, pushing a point or an issue. And so sometimes these kids just need somebody to be able to open up and have a good time, and somebody that can direct them without, really pushing them into a situation. And I think that's what coaches and teachers and a lot of these people that are around our young individuals are doing. And, I think to your point, Kayla, they do not get enough credit for everything that they're doing. I mean, like you said, they're not getting paid much. My sister-in-law, she's working at Sunray Elementary. She's the one that kind of got us all set up with this, and she's a first-year teacher. And like I said, I mean, there's just they don't get paid a whole lot, but I think they know that going in where they're going to be at, and they do it anyways. And that's something as well. That gives a good idea of like, this is something that she really enjoys doing, and I think all these teachers do. And for them to take on that type of a career and hopefully shape the youth in our community. That's really something. That's awesome.
Yeah, no, it is. And it's not always like, rainbows and sunshine when you're working with kids too. It's got to be hard for them to see, kids coming in and knowing that they didn't eat over the weekend, so like, obviously, organizations like yours is, yes, they want you to be in the school because they can't afford to, pay for the kids over the weekend. I mean, they're trying to put food on their own table, but I think teachers a lot of times take the brunt of, buying the supplies for their classrooms, when they can. So it's definitely, I think this is a tremendous help. And, if there's a way that we could figure out how to make sure these children who need it are eating over the weekend, I mean, I don't know what that solution is, or
I mean, like I said, I know you don't ever really think about that, right? It's like, a lot of the kids that are on the free lunch program, they're getting free breakfast, free lunch. Are they eating dinner at home? Are they eating on the weekends? I mean, that's something, like I said, that I'd never thought of before. You know what I mean? And so there's a lot of stuff out there like that that's happening. And so, anything that we can do to kind of help with those things is really what we're, like I said, the back to school thing is cool. And that's the main driver here. But really, the reason we're doing this is just so these kids can have a good school career. That's kind of how I word it. Like, you know, if they're not eating, they're not going to be working hard, or they're not going to have the ambition to work hard when they're at school if all they're thinking about is when's their next meal, you know. If they don't get to do any extracurricular stuff, maybe school isn't enough. There's a lot of kids out there that, you know, they enjoy playing football and they enjoy playing basketball, and, you know, that requirement that they have to keep their grades up in order to play, that's enough to keep them there. But if they can't afford to play basketball or can't afford to do sports, then maybe they give up, you know? So any of those things that we can do to help drive them to be successful is really what's kind of important to me. How do we keep them moving in the right direction? There's so many kids that don't have it. They don't have a positive role model. They don't have the money or the time to do the things that they need to do. And that's really what we want to help kind of push along, especially in our community.
I wonder if you could do like some sort of like a shoe drive for you know, the kids that want to play basketball or track or you know, whatever shoes, like, because every different sport needs special shoes, and they're not cheap.
No,
they've never been cheap, but they're definitely not cheap anymore.
Cost of everything keeps going up, and, you know, again, it kind of puts everybody in a worse situation. So I mean, I think the board and myself are pretty open on, you know, what we want to do for these next things. We're definitely looking for ideas. And I think that some of those things with the sporting is going to be, that's pretty near and dear to me as well. And so I think what we can do with the sports programs is going to be great. But that'll kind of be the next step moving forward. I know I think you guys know Wayne, one of my buddies, he's on the board with us, and, you know, he's really into the music part of it. You know, he loves the instruments and that part. So we've discussed some items with that too. So we're really trying to keep an open mind, and again, just trying to help wherever we can do the most good, whatever that is. That's kind of where we're going to focus our sights on and do what we can from there.
Yeah. Just to kind of chime in, I know that there's like pack-a-sack programs and stuff that try to help, like for the weekends. I think even bigger issue is those breaks, those holiday breaks. It's a really long period of time that they're not in school, you know, Christmas break and break.
Summer break, things like that.
Yeah, trying to find ways to be able to help within that time period is difficult because they're not all in one location. Nor can you take a packed lunch for 5 days.
Well, I know, like, there's some local businesses, like last year, Goodfellas, which is over there on Madison, around 54 in Trouble Creek area. He basically had a thing set up where in the mornings he was just making bag lunches and putting them in the cooler, and any of the kids that came in and got them could have them, you know. And so I think, you know, there are some good people in our community that are doing some things like that. But to your point, Lindsay, I mean, how do you do it for how do you make sure every kid has it? You know what I mean? And so that's really what we're kind of looking into, is how can we help where we can?
Right. Agreed.
Yeah. I mean, just like a thought that I was, you know, we had, and I think we might've talked to you about this before at some point or mentioned it. We had a Grace's Food Pantry on here a while back, and they do like food pantries weekly in a lot of the, you know, lower income communities where they have food and everything. But I wonder if maybe there's a way like you guys could potentially even partner and do like provide like the teachers will know which kids are the ones that are struggling to send them home with the information like, hey, here's where you can get food on this day. You know, every week, you know,
and I think that's a great point, is like, that's the level that we need to be able to get to these people, right? We need to go in that route. One of the things I will say is there's a lot of prideful people out there, and sometimes their pride gets in the way of them wanting to be helped. And so a lot of times that's a tough hurdle to cross. But to your point, I mean, I think that, you know, really working with the social workers, working with the teachers at these schools, and really using their knowledge of insight that they have to seeing this, you know, I mean, they see when these kids show up every day and their soles are gone on their shoes, and, you know, they're wearing the same clothes they had on yesterday, and all of these things, you know, and so that's where we really want to get in. And we have a great list of social workers that have already reached out and we've worked with on certain things. And I think they're just very, very overwhelmed by everything that they're dealing with too. And so it makes it difficult for us to even be able to get involved with them, because a lot of times it's to the point now where they don't even have the time to be able to sit down and have that conversation with us. A lot of times we're reaching out through email and we're doing this, and we're all of our flyers that we make, we're sending a copy out to the social workers that we have for the Pasco County schools. And we very rarely get any feedback from them. And I don't think it's because they don't need the help. I think it's just because they're not having the time to be able to really get in touch with us. So that's another great point for us. If anybody knows one of these social workers or one of these teachers at these schools, have them reach out to us, and we can, if we want to help, we're here to help when we can. We just got to have those contacts and be able to do that.
Yeah. I couldn't imagine being a social worker or working at, on that level,
Right.
and, be very emotional.
Yeah. I can only imagine. Yeah.
To sit here and just watch people and see people struggling,
Right.
just to get by, especially young kids.
Yeah. And I can just imagine them having to go into some of these homes and everything else. It's got to be tough. So, like I said, we're here to help them with anything that we can. It's just getting us in contact with those folks.
Right. And having that open line of communication.
Exactly.
And then on the other end, allowing you to help.
Right.
So a couple different things happening.
Yep.
Yeah. So, okay. Are there any specific businesses that you have that you can just at the top of your head think of where there's drop-off locations?
I don't even want to say, because I cannot remember all 12 of them off the top of my head.
Okay.
But I know Neat Coffee Bar. He's got one over there. Wayne does. We've got boxes at Hyper Collectibles. We've got a box here at my office at G2. I think about 6 businesses on Main Street, Newport Richey, have boxes over there.
Okay.
And we've got definitely, like I said, last year we had 6 boxes. This year we have 12 boxes out. So those are all great. We appreciate all those guys that have that set up for us. But yeah, if anybody wants to donate or give to one of these things, they can obviously jump on our Facebook page or on our website. I think they're listed there as well. But yeah.
Okay. And they have until the 19th
Correct.
to drop them off.
Yep.
And then the actual drive where kids are getting handed the backpacks is going to be the 31st.
Correct. Yep. And then 2 more dates that I just like to put out there for everybody. On October 8th, 18th, I believe it's the 8th. October 18th. Sorry about that. October 18th. We have our clay shooting event at Tampa Bay Sporting Clays.
Okay.
So that's going to be one of our fundraising events. We did it last year, and it was a really good turnout. I think last year we had around 40 people show up for that. We're trying to get a little bit closer to 75 people this year. So that would be a cool event if anybody likes to do clay shootings and stuff like that. It was really, really a fun time.
I've never done that before.
Never done it before?
No.
We're going to go.
Yeah.
Last year was my first year. I was terrible. I think I shot the worst out of everybody. I've never shot a shotgun before. I'm out there. I'm like, man, I felt great though. It was cool, but I just was, it was not good. And then April 25th is going to be of 2025. That'll be our second golf tournament. So we just had our first golf event this year in April, and we raised over $7,000 for the charity at that golf event. So really had a great turnout on that, and looking forward to kind of doing that again next year as well. So
cool. That's exciting. Yeah. I just put the clay shooting in my calendar.
Okay.
Because I feel like that I would also be terrible. I'm not going to lie. The whole hand-eye coordination thing. Like,
yeah. Well, it's funny the way you always, like, when they're lining them up, when they're coming across, you think you got them. And then I think I hit 2 clays the whole time I was there.
Yeah. Not only do you have to hit the target,
you're supposed to hit the target. It's still fun if you don't, but Jason, who's one of my marketing director here, he's from Brooksville. He lives on a farm, and that guy, I think he hit every damn target. I'm like,
You
you're
practice.
making me look bad here.
But it's a moving target, not
Yeah.
just target.
Yep. Yeah, it was fun though. It was a really good time. We had a good turnout. It was something that we put together pretty quick. Really didn't have a lot of time or a lot of experience doing an event like that. But the people at Tampa Bay Sporting Clays were great. They really helped us put everything together quickly. And like I said, had a great event. We raised a lot of money then too. Had some great raffle items. A lot of the local businesses raffled stuff off. And, we did a couple different things like that. So again, some cool stuff that we're trying to do and get the community involved. And, me being a small business owner as well, I always like to lean on our small business owner community too, because I think that we all have done a great job of building a community here where we can rely on each other. And that's what I'm about. I mean, I'm all about showing gratitude to small businesses that want to help out and that they can help out. Again, like I said, I always want people that can donate from a place of abundance, not a place of scarcity. So anybody that can help out, that's awesome. And if you can't help out, we understand that too.
Oh, cool. Well, you're doing a great job. You have a great company. G2 Home Services does a phenomenal job. You have really put it together very well.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Your involvement in the community is incredible as well. So thank you.
Yeah.
That you do.
Appreciate that.
For sure.
All right, guys. So again, if anybody has any questions or wants to donate or wants to see that list of the drop-off locations, head over to the Facebook page or the site, correct?
Correct. Yep.
And it's
all
the
there.
Facebook page is G2.
So they can find us anywhere on Facebook. If they go to G2 Home Services on Facebook or G2 Community Youth Foundation, most everything is shared there. Or they can, again, go to my personal page and can find it through there. We do a pretty good job of sharing everything through. But Facebook definitely has the most information. And then also, if you go to our website, g2communityyouthfoundation.org, there is the links to all these different events that we just talked about. And there is also a Zephy link there, which is a nonprofit that collects funds for us as a nonprofit, and they do that without any fees or anything like that. So they can basically donate if they want to do some money for different events as well. The great thing about that is if you want to donate specifically to the back to school drive, you can do that. If you want to donate specifically to the charity or any of the other events, you can do that as well. So
cool.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Gary. We're going to wrap it up for today. And
you got it. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you having me on again.
Yep, absolutely. Always a pleasure. We'll do this again next year.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right. Have a good day.